Friends, welcome to the Extra Mile. I'm glad that you made time for us. I meant to tell you all last week, and I greatly apologize that I was going to not have an Extra Mile for you this last week because of our family trip. And I try to keep you informed of all of that stuff and let you know when I'm going to miss some time, and I totally didn't. So that's totally on me. I apologize, but I appreciate you sticking with me and not everybody canceling their subscriptions. I need to tell you again how much I appreciate your support of what we're trying to do here. I hope you find it beneficial. This last week, more stuff started showing up from our Dashboard Jesus accounts, response videos to things. You're going to see more of that in the future. I hope they're things that you can take and learn from, yes, but also share them and maybe spread some truth in this, this God-forsaken age. I shouldn't say God has forsaken this age. This God-forsaken culture, as you see fit. Anyway, let me hit, because I had a couple of you that emailed me once you found out where I was, said, what was your favorite thing that you did? What was your favorite thing? And I've exchanged some emails with some of you. Let me quickly, before I get to what I wanted to talk about, which is this IRS decision on the Extra Mile today, let me quickly give you the top 10 things and the reasons why they were ranked that we did on our trip. And we did the Pennsylvania to DC to New York City, and then we flew home from LaGuardia, which ranked at the bottom of my favorite things. Although LaGuardia wasn't a bad airport, it wasn't. It's an airport. And we had a layover, no good. Number 10 on the list was the Statue of Liberty. I still love the Statue of Liberty. I don't care for the ferry ride over there and then the time it takes you to walk around. And there's really no great picture spot with the Statue of Liberty. But here is one thing that I actually really, really enjoyed. You ready for this? We got a lemon shake-up that was out there on the island. We thought it was going to be breezy since it's out on the water, and so the kids, even though it was 90 degrees, Jenny said, you better take your sweatshirts just in case. Nobody used a sweatshirt. The breeze was non-existent. We got a lemon shake-up, and it had the top of it, you only could buy like the $10 ones that had the fake flame at the top of the cup. It was like a collector's cup. Forget the collector's edition. That was the best lemon shake-up I've ever had. I don't know where they're getting their lemons out there, but they did it the right way. And I've had lemon shake-ups at county fairs my whole life, by far. Was it because I was really thirsty and was annoyed at the heat and being out there and no good picture spot? Maybe. Maybe that enhanced it. Best lemon shake-up I've ever had at the Statue of Liberty. That's why it came in at number 10. And number 9 was the Lincoln Monument. Not a big Lincoln guy. Never been a big Lincoln guy. I've got respect for him, but he's not going to make my top highest list of presidents. The suspension of the writ of habeas corpus, not a big fan of that, and all of those other things. What did I love about it? I loved the fact that I look over at one moment, and Lincoln's my son's favorite. He doesn't have any idea. He only picks Lincoln instead of Washington because he knows that it irks me. So I'm just going to let it ride for a while. He will eventually see the light. Or he will not have any inheritance. That's the way this is going to go. But when I looked over, and of course the girls are whining about the steps all the way up, and it is a hot day, but I looked over at my son, who had his phone, and he was snapping a picture, and his face, he was just looking up at this giant sculpture. Like, I don't know if you have ever seen Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, the old black and white Jimmy Stewart movie. I show it to my kids in high school. Like, it's usually a day before a break or something like that. And I got my Ball State government class. It's like a college level government class. I always show it to them. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. And there's a scene when Jimmy Stewart is at the Lincoln Memorial and he looks over and there's a little boy who is reading the inscription. And I saw that little boy in my son's face. That was incredibly meaningful to me. So that's why it came in at number 9. Number 8 was the World War II Memorial. This would have been higher if it would have just been Jenny and I, but having to, I loved, there is a, on the Pacific side of the World War II Memorial, which I had never seen before, there's an island, all these islands where battles took place. And we have a picture of when my mom took my Grandpa Gene, who was in World War II, on an honor flight out before Grandpa had died, out to the World War II Memorial, and got a picture of him in his wheelchair right there by the island where his ship, the Leyte Gulf, where it went down. or the Lipscomb Bay, Leyte Gulf, where the Lipscomb Bay, his ship went down. The ship that Dory Miller of Pearl Harbor fame, I found out, was aboard that ship, and that's where he died. Dory Miller, the mess attendant that grabbed the guns and shot down some planes at Pearl Harbor, got the Navy Cross, would have gotten the Congressional Medal of Honor, but he was black. And the Navy being what it was at the time, that wasn't going to happen. But anyway, Dory Miller was on that ship with my grandpa. Grandpa survived that. And so we got that picture of Grandpa sitting right there. I was able to get a picture of my 3 kids. I'm going to put that on Facebook at some point in time, the side-by-side of that they are here because God saved Grandpa at that place. Otherwise, I wouldn't have existed. They wouldn't have existed. It's just an amazing testimony to God's grace. But anyway, so that was really meaningful to me. And again, had it not been for whiny kids, I would have spent more time there. But I was at least able to tell them the story. And that was pretty cool to me. Probably should rank higher than number 8, especially when I say this next one. But number 7, we went to a ball game in Brooklyn. And my favorite part of the ball game in Brooklyn was sitting next to my daughter Bristol and my son Grayson on the other side and kind of explaining the baseball game to them. They asked questions. We got our feet up on the seats in front of us. It's actually a comfortable evening, and they're asking questions, and we're laughing at things. It was a really cool moment. So that's why it ranked in at number 7. Number 6, visiting One World Trade Center. Super cool the way they've done it. But I'll tell you what stands out, and I've done reasons why I liked all of the things before. It really was an incredible view, but I think my favorite part of it, you get on the elevator, and as you're going up 102 stories pretty quickly, they have these glass panels around you. You're not seeing outside, but they are they're images, they're pictures of what, if it was hollow or if it was clear, the city around you. But the way they do it, you start in like 1400 or whatever, or year 0, I don't even know, when it was all swampland and all of that. And as you rise, the years tick forward at the same time. So on one side, you're seeing the floors that you're climbing. And on the other side, you're seeing the years. And you watch the city of New York be built around you. It is incredibly cool. You can probably get it on YouTube if you're not going to make it out there, but you can watch that happen as you're rising up. Kind of takes your mind off of going up 102 stories too. But that feeling when you step out and you kind of feel the building sway a little bit, which they're made to do, no good. No good at all. But still number 6. Number 5, the Holocaust Museum. I was not prepared for it. I've taught the Holocaust for years, was not prepared for the Holocaust Museum and some of the, I've never seen some of that footage before. And the survivors and things, I was disturbed and just maybe reinvigorated to make sure that I do a good job of teaching what happened to these poor people and how it was permitted. But they had models, like, and you would see how they were all herded down underneath into these chambers with the gas showers, and they were told to disrobe. And then the way that they would move them, the incinerators, I just, it's unspeakable. And Jenny just kept saying the same thing to me. How do you do this? How do you just take other human beings and do this? And I don't have an answer for that. You don't. That's just not, but they did. And Holocaust Museum was number 5. Number 4 was Ford's Theater. Again, not a Lincoln guy, but let me tell you the coolest thing in the world to me. I know a lot about that because I teach it. I've taught it for years. And so every year I feel like I learn a little bit more of the story, and now I know even more. But it was really cool to me that they have left Ford's Theater in the original. Obviously, they've renovated it so it doesn't collapse, but in its original form. So those tunnels, like you could go, or the under the ground areas and the climbs into various places, I was able to walk in the footsteps of John Wilkes Booth, who came in from the back. He went underneath, as the actors were permitted to, through the back hallways, out onto the street in front of you. I don't remember the name of the street, down to a little pub where he waited and drank a little to get up the courage, and then he came back and he made his way up the staircase, and he walked behind the entire crowd there. He knows the play. He knows when there's going to be a laugh line. He passes a guard who's got his feet kind of stuck out, and he says, "Excuse me," and the guy's, "Oh, excuse me," pulls his feet in, lets this well-known actor, John Wilkes Booth, who everybody knows doesn't like Lincoln, but nobody anticipates an assassination, and he goes past him, and there is a guard at the door who opens the door essentially for John Wilkes Booth, who goes in, and there's like there's a panel that he probably, then 2 access doors into the room where Lincoln was, probably goes to the second one. I'm able to walk all of that up into the booth. And it's crazy to walk in the footsteps of a guy who altered the course of history, John Wilkes Booth. I don't think highly of him by any stretch of the imagination, but it's kind of this chilling feeling, and you're able to actually take his path. To me, that was really an exceptional moment. So that's why it came in at number 4. We saw The Outsiders, the play, and I got to tell you, even though I complained about the price, it was really impressive. Those people are very, very talented. If you ever have a chance, even if you're not into musicals, and I'm really not, less today than I even was in my younger years. But it's still, you can't go to that and not be amazed at the vocal ability and the choreographed stuff and the special effects and the lighting and the musicianship. It was amazing. So that came in at number 3. Number 2 for me was the Flight 93 Memorial. It would have been number 1. I've always been drawn to the Flight 93 story and those heroes, Todd Beamer and Mark Burnett and Jeremy Glick and all of them that are on board that flight. And that's one that I show my kids every 9/11 in school and will until I retire. But that, that would have been number 1 to be there. And this time I was able to walk down the actual path of the flight to its final crash site where the boulder is. You can't walk up to the boulder. That field is memorial ground and all of that. But that would have been number 1, but I'd actually been to that memorial before. Number 1 was the 9/11 memorial. And I'll tell you the part that was the most fascinating to me. And I don't think this is, obviously seeing some of the steel from the towers and hearing the testimony of some that were there and survived and made it down. The testimony of the guy, and I can't remember his name. I've seen the interviews with him, who watched the plane come in. It hit like on his floor. It's just an amazing story of survival on his part. All of that was something, but the planning, the section on the Al-Qaeda terrorists, when they came to the United States, where they were sent, the documents that they found of theirs, the night before, what they read the night before, then watching the footage of them passing through security and boarding the aircraft. That to me was, again, it was chilling, but it was incredibly, I don't even know the word for it. Sobering, but also something I'll never forget. It was a great trip. Really enjoyed it. So those are my top 10 things that we did. Let me switch now to the stuff that I wanted to make sure that I brought up here on the Extra Mile. This IRS decision. The IRS now, under the leadership of the Trump administration, making the statement that churches can go out now and endorse candidates in election cycles if they want to, without any fear of losing their tax-exempt status. Okay, couple things to say about this. This has always been the law. The state has never, sorry, there's Nat in the way. The state has never had the authority. I know the Johnson Amendment and all of that, but they've never had the constitutional authority to threaten churches' tax-exempt status if they endorse candidates. Churches can say and do what they want to say and do and advise people spiritually however they want to do it. So this idea that the church has been given permission by the government to do something, no, that's not how the system works. And I'll tell you who has always seemed to know that is the historically black congregations, who have been endorsing candidates and inviting Democrat politicians into their church services, allowing them to speak before election cycles and rally people in nothing short of a campaign speech. They've never been fearful about it. And I commend them for it. Not the ideology that they're promoting. I don't commend that, but I commend their understanding that it has always been the right of the churches to do this. Now, do I think it is smart biblically? to tie the message of Jesus to a political message of a political party or a political candidate, of course I don't think that's smart. I think that it is in the best interest of the church to speak to the values that Christians hold, and to the degree that they are represented by certain candidates or a certain platform or a certain party, so be it. But actually endorsing and naming candidates, I think that you are inviting trouble, not legal trouble. I'm trying to say this in a way that makes sense. I don't worry about the legal trouble. The principalities of man, the powers of man don't concern me. But I think you are inviting trouble to your ability to transmit the life-changing message of Jesus Christ when you tie it to the name of a particular politician who is fallible, who will fail, and who will inevitably betray the name of Christ. We all do. I don't want the name of Christ tied to myself. I want to be under conviction of the name of Christ. I want to be under conviction of the Holy Spirit. I want to be preaching in a way that, yes, the Holy Spirit flows through and convicts others while He is convicting me. I want to be prompted to holiness more every day, just like I want my politicians to be prompted in the same way. So no, personally, I won't be endorsing as a preacher or as a Christian in general any particular candidate, but values and ideals, and certainly the cross of Christ, I'll be endorsing every breath that I have. So that's my take on all of that. To me, it's much ado about nothing, and I'm glad that people are excited about it. I just feel like they're late to the party. The church should have never felt cowed by the state. They should have never felt under the thumb of the state. They're not. They serve a power much greater than any power of man. That's who they're accountable to. That is the church, or the small c churches. Your thoughts welcome. Peter@peterheck.com is the email address, Peter@peterheck.com. Appreciate all of those emails that come in, and certainly hope you're checking our website at dashboardjesus.net. That's dashboardjesus.net. Hope you have a great one. Hope you tune in or check your inbox tomorrow for another from the Dashboard commentary. I don't know what just happened to my voice there. I'm glitching out. Anyway, I hope you'll check it, and hope you'll be here next week. I'll see you real soon. More from Dashboard Jesus, and I can't wait.